Hey, I'm going to show you an engagement letter that is impossible to automate until now, because you can on Knuula and it's great. So this firm came to us after trying to roll out an advisory practice for literally 3 years, and they could never maintain it because the administrative side of it was so complicated. It was just easier for them to kind of stick with what they've already done. Here's what they wanted to do. They wanted to send their clients these engagement letters that had a list of services that were tied to them, and it was all part of a subscription style package. That's great, but it's extremely hard to do because you need something like this. Here's our bookkeeping services, and it's a special list for that client. And here's advisory services and accounting services. And then we have, here are the entities that we're providing it to. And then here's the tier and how much it costs and renewal and all of that. So it's super difficult, especially when you try to customize this for every single client. So how long did this take them? 2 to 3 hours per engagement letter, because they were manually listing this stuff out in Microsoft Word, having to look up old versions of it to kind of figure out what goes where. They had to get it reviewed, they had to revise it. It was an administrative nightmare. It took them forever. Now they can do it in under a minute, and I'm going to show you how. So here we are on Knuula. This is a database of clients that you can keep track of. And in it, you're going to see things like this. Okay, so I have a column for bookkeeping services. Here are my bookkeeping services associated with each client. I have saved options. I can add those and change them. So Pam here doesn't have any bookkeeping services. We're going to add some advisory services for her. So what do we have? Let's go with personal wealth coaching, risk management, analytics. Excellent. So now she's got some of those. Let's also toss in some bookkeeping services for Pam. Preparation of sales tax, reconciliation, and that works. Okay, so just 2 different things for her, and everybody else has their own batch of services. Let's double check on everything. So we have, for Pam, we have the platinum tier starting at $30,000. She's paying for the year. These other ones, we kind of left that blank. That's fine. Let's see what happens. And that's it. Okay, so we've now added some services for Pam. We have all these other clients that have their own services. Let's select them and select a template. Here we go, and see what happens. So here we go. This is what I have for Bella. Here are the services we are offering to Bella. We're doing the onboarding services. I'm going to show you in the background right here how that lines up. So here's the onboarding services for Bella. Okay, here you go. There they are. There's the bookkeeping services, so on, accounting services, excellent. What about Pam? Because Pam didn't have all of this, so should we have this in here? I would assume no. So let's see. Wow, completely different document based purely on the data that we have for Pam. So we have these services that we store for Pam, and they're completely different. She doesn't have as much as everybody else. So she doesn't have onboarding services, so that's not in there. She has advisory services, and here they are. Let's go down to the actual payment area. So platinum, and she's paying year, and here's the annual fee. So let's go look for somebody who has a monthly fee, see what that looks like. Okay, so Gina has a monthly fee. Let's go look at her engagement letter. Monthly. All right, and then what about pricing? Okay, it's this one instead. All right, so it's completely different. Every single one of these clients is going to receive a completely different engagement letter that is specifically tailored to the services that they are offering. And not only that, I can keep track of it in our database. So that's it. I'm going to go ahead and create and send all of them. And then we'll dive into how this is fully automated. Let's go. Here we go. Okay, there they are. Let's see one of them. Let's look at Pam's. So these have now been sent out for e-signature. Pam would receive this. She's able to sign it. Here are all her services. Cool. So let's go back into a template now and see how this actually happens. We now have something that switches different versions of entire paragraphs and sections based on data. So it's conditional rendering, and here it is. So if you see, here's trigger on. So let's go select a couple clients and see what that means. So as I selected a client, it went ahead and printed out all these different items and showed everything that needed to be shown. And that is because we have conditional rendering. So I'm going to go in here and see what that is. So for income tax services, for example, it's only going to show that section if income tax services exist for that client. What about, let's go with payment terms. That's an interesting one. So it only shows the monthly fee option if the bill frequency contains monthly. And if it doesn't contain that, it's going to do the yearly one by default. So it's conditional rendering at a massive scale. You can literally make any document that you ever want. So now a firm like the one that brought us this can fully manage their advisory practice and roll it out and have different services tied to each client. And they can now switch to subscription billing instead of, traditional hourly services. It scales with you. It changes with you. It's fully customizable and it's fast. That's what we have.